So today we're going to be talking about sacred wealth, okay? Aligning spiritual leadership with financial power, okay? Who else but Katja to deliver this message for us today? Um, Please introduce yourself, Katja.
Yes, hello to all. Although I just don't know a lot of people here, but thank you, Margaret, for having me here. Enjoyed your lives and talking a little about finances and spirituality and how this can come together. Normally, I just talk about personal finances, but not in a spiritual way. But I know you are more like in this chapter, so we wanted to talk a little about how we can combine these components and spirituality and also finances. And yes, because I experienced that finances isn't just about numbers, it's more about mindset and our behavior behind and intentionality. And so, yes, it's a great topic to join here with Margaret. And I'm glad to be here.
Absolutely. Yes, Katja and I, we have alliances, obviously. Okay,
Yeah.
so I met Katja through Veronica. Okay, so we're both founding members of Veronica's group, and I just want to give a shout out to Veronica, who is one of my mentors, and I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for her, helping
Yeah.
me out as much as she has. And so now, sacred wealth is not simply about money; it's about meaning. Okay, it's about recognizing that financial power and spiritual purpose are not opposites, but they're partners. Okay. And we need to understand that the true leadership emerges when we align what we earn with what we embody. Okay. And when the spirit direct the strategy, we can do nothing but excel, right?
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. So that's my experience for all my life. When I started to take my finances in my own hand and care about my finances, I was very anxious about my financial future and always thinking I won't have enough money in the future. But then I started to think about, and I just took um, how you say, I took responsibility for my finances and, of course, for my life. I recognize that it is the easiest way to get a better financial life is to align your life with your finances. So it means if you live the life you really want to live, so it gets much easier to align your life with your finances and you start being more intentional and mindful with your money when your life is intentional too. So that's my experience, and that's what I also teach to my students and to my community, so that everything starts within yourself, and then the numbers will are important, but they are not all to focus on. So first, it's to focus on yourself and what you really want to live by. So I think
That's
you're right.
yes. Thank you for saying that. Now tell us how your values play a part in all of that.
So, for instance, if my value is to um, on spending. Let's break it down to spending. When I do my budget plan and when I think about how I want to spend my money, which is the first intention I do at the one of every month. So I think, what do I like spending money for? And I think I want to separate this now from the things I have to pay for. So for the living costs, I have to pay for, of course, but I also recognize this paying for energy, for the electricity, for water supply, anything you get is also something you can like, because hey, we switch on the lights and we have electricity, we have lights, we open the the water and the water comes out. So we can live with these supplies. So it's important to also embrace and be and appreciate that what we have. On the other side, I have in spendings I can make intentionally. I can say yes or no to. And if I especially like doing experiences like traveling or meeting people or learning to know new people. So for me, this is something I like to spend money on. So I don't put much money in clothes or other things or material stuff because I like traveling. I like it minimalistic. I want to go to every place. So I have a small baggage and then I say, yes, I just need this small baggage. And but for traveling, especially, or for experience, I like to pay money for, and that's what you start aligning your money on, your life on. So if you look at your values, what you're valuing, what your priorities are, then also your spending will align with this is my. So I think that's the easiest point, or the easiest point to start with before you focus on the numbers.
Yeah, all of that is well and fine, but we also have to understand our triggers and patterns, okay? Um, and sometimes these things will impact what we spend our money on as well.
Yes.
You want to talk about that?
Of course, we all are triggered. We are human beings. We are triggered by emotions or thoughts we have, and then feelings we got because of these thoughts we have. And yes, of course, you can be triggered to special things. But I I learned that I can also train this. Like, say you have the bad emotion because of something happened on your job, maybe something happens all the time, and then you want to spend some money, you scroll through your phone, and then you want to spend some money to feel good. That's quite normal. It's like emotional eating. It's the same trigger. And so I teach, and I teach to say, okay, if you find yourself in such a situation, just go on the brake, like a brake in the car. You suddenly hit the brake, and then you stop just for a moment, and then as soon as you stop, this emotional brain or your baby brain will stop. And then you start thinking with your rational brain or part of your brain. And then you can think about, oh, what am I doing here? Am I right here? This is what I want. So it's, yes, it needs a little bit of exercise, but we can use our irrational brain. And if we learn to watch ourselves, our behaviors and the triggers we have. Of course, it doesn't work all the time. Sometimes we just break the rules and we have our triggers. That's quite normal. But the most important is to not judge ourselves. Instead, watch ourselves and look at our patterns and change what we can change, new routines, new habits, and also watch our thoughts and be a little bit more mindful with what we are doing. So for me,
Yes.
it works. So I do this, and sometimes see myself in a shop, and then I want to buy something, and then I do the stop, and then yes, okay, it works. Not all the time, but most of the time.
Yeah, that comes through awareness, as we know.
Cool.
Knowing ourselves, knowing our triggers, knowing because sometimes I can go through a donut shop and it won't even bother me. Okay. If I'm stressed out, if I'm going through some kind of depression thing going on, if I go into that donut shop, I might get one of those donuts. It will make me feel better initially, okay? Because, we're all into instant gratification. But after you eat the donuts, then you start feeling like crap, like, oh, I shouldn't have ate that. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I didn't really want that. I just wanted something because I have no control over nothing else that's happening in my life. But I have control whether I buy that donut, okay? So that's the way people look at it. Yeah, like I said, instant gratification, but after the aftermath, it's like, oh no, I shouldn't have did that. Should have ate an apple instead. The apple is not as tasty, okay? Because it's something that it's like forbidden fruit. The forbidden fruit is the one that you desire the most, not something that's like piece of bread or something like that. You see what I'm saying? So there's a link between upbringing and financial power. Okay, I'm gonna give you an example. Okay,
Mhm.
um, your childhood writes it's the first draft of our whole story because we are being molded and shaped from the womb. Okay, and all the things that our mother goes through, while she's in the womb, okay? And then even after that, we are a part of each other, okay? So it's going to automatically impact us as well, okay? You don't realize that at the time, but once you become an adult and then you like you have this player and you start rewinding all of this and you like, oh, all this stuff came up that you start remembering. Okay. So like, for example, my father, Baptist minister, you know, he abused me and my stepmother, who used to beat us on a regular basis when, I don't know what was going on in his head. But anyway, what he told my mother, okay, he had all the money. And he used it to manipulate and control not only my mother, stepmother, me, and everybody else as well. Because he told her, oh, for your birthday, I'm going to buy you a refrigerator. I'm like, what the fuck? What? That is not a gift. That is something for the household. Okay? So what made you think that's a gift? And she's supposed to be grateful for that? Okay? Then he will come home sometime. I don't know what happened to him. He would just come, open the refrigerator, just throw shit on the floor, say, you need to clean this out. I don't know what you're doing here all day. I'm like, okay, let me go somewhere. I don't know what's going on with him. So this thing is he's controlling the money. And then he told me one time, okay, this more than one time. He said, I asked him for $20. I didn't forgot what I asked him for. He's like, remember you did this thing 2 months ago and I told you not to do it. Forgot what the hell he was talking about. He said, no, I'm not going to give you the $20. Okay. So I would have to beg him for anything. Okay. Beg him. Just basically just get on the ground, just beg him for it. And he would, no, I'm not going to do that. Okay. So I would have to do this for a period of time. Okay. So you use that to manipulate people. Okay. And then he's the minister of the church. He was just a manipulator, controller, everything. So I promised myself, I'm going to get my own money. I said, I am never going to let a man control me, period. You're going to tell me to jump and tell me how high. You're going to tell me I can do this. I cannot do that. Okay. She couldn't leave. She didn't have her own money. Okay. She was dependent on him. And I asked her, why don't you leave? She's like, well, I might end up in a worse situation than I'm in. I'm thinking to myself, how could it be any worse? Okay. But women back in those days, they were beholden to the man. Because like I said, they didn't have their own job or anything. So they were beholden. If he tell you to jump, you say how high, and that's it. You don't ask no questions. You might end up on the floor. Okay. So I just wanted to show you the link between upbringing and financial power is that I felt I had no power. I didn't have any power at that time. So I said, okay, if I get money, then I can be powerful too. Then I don't have to dance to somebody else's music. Okay. So that's why I said, okay, I'm going to go and get this degree and I'm going to get this job and I'm not going to let nobody control me like that. I don't care what you do. I'm going to have my own money. You know, if you're married, fine. You can have joint accounts, but have your own money. Because if he decide to walk out the door, what the hell are you gonna do? Then a lot of women, they have to start over because the man go out there, he decide, he's feeling himself and he's like, oh, I'm gonna go out there and get me a 20-year-old. Well, you go ahead. But I got my money. You go ahead. And then he wake up later on like, oh, I made a mistake. Too bad. Okay? Because that young thing ain't only gonna be with you for so long until she drains you dry, and then she'll find the next victim. I'm just saying. Okay, this is what I see in the life
Yes,
that I live in.
you are totally right. It's a very important thing, and it's not just only about what you told, making someone dependent on another person throughout money. It's also it's important for every woman to care for her finances too, because it's not, you can't live in a partnership and you can have a good partnership, but still you should care for the money too. So if you do it with your partner or alone, it doesn't matter. But I think every part of a partnership, or if you live alone, should take care of finances, and nobody should leave the finances just to one person. And so it's important that also women learn more about finances, and that they do something for their finances, or at least to do it with their partner together. I think it's best to do it together if you're in partnership. But yes, women
And
should care for their finances too. And yes, I saw it in my own family. So my before my mother, my for for a certain time, my father lived abroad, and my mother was alone at home, a working mom with 4 children, and took care for everything, for our children, for the money, for everything. But then later, then after the hit of the Berlin Wall, I was grown in East Germany. So that it the system changed totally. Of course, we came in from a socialist system into a capitalist system, and my parents had to adapt very fast. They were in their 40s, so it was totally different and also difficult for them. But then I realized that all the finances was doing my father. And yes, in the years ago, and it was my mother. She was believing in everything, but my father was overwhelmed, and he was too shy to ask for help and to say this. And if we are a woman and we think our partner will do this, our husband or whoever will do this, we 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 don't think about that he can be overwhelmed too, that he can't do the things the thing maybe. We think men are by default better in finances than women. That's not true. Okay, they talk a lot about finances, much more than women. So if you put men in a room, they talk about finances immediately, while women don't. But they are not better than women. So we as women are the same good in finances as men, but we should take care and we should do the thing and we should learn more about, and it's okay. And that's what I want to say. So even if you're a woman, you can talk to your husband, talk. I think the best is talking openly about finances, but also being in position to be financially independent, which means you have your own savings, you have your own investings separated from your husband, and you have your job. That's or not if you don't have a job, but you should have at least your own account or savings account, also investing account, even if you're a housewife or yes. But I think it's really important for women to care about their finances and to learn more. And I can say it's not difficult and it makes fun.
absolutely. And the other thing is, say, for example, you married into a contentious family, for example, okay? And that husband dies, okay, suddenly. And that family is going to be contentious. They don't want you to have nothing, okay? So you need to have safeguards in place before you get into these marriages, whatever, for whatever reason. Protect yourself and your self interest, because families get into these court cases, and then you end up with nothing. They want to put you out the house and all of these things. So you need, I don't care how good this, whatever it is, okay? Take care of yourself, okay? It ain't that good, because if he died,
Yes.
then what you got?
And,
You ain't got nothing.
and, that, and to mention this, take care of yourself and protect yourself. It's not selfish. It's not selfish. So no woman should think that she's selfish if she protects herself and thinks about herself. No, it's important. It's something crucial, because if you are in a bad position and if you don't have the money, you can't help you can't help nobody, any other person. So it's important to be first in a good situation, even also financially, and then you can give and you can care about others. But first, you should care about yourself, also financially, and it's not selfish, because it's often a fall by women to think it's selfish to take care for themselves. No, it isn't. Absolutely not.
Yeah, because I've seen situations where the husband might be the, you might be almost bankrupt. He might have a sexual addiction. He might have a drinking addiction. He might have anything, and gambling addiction, you don't even know about it. And then you come to find out you're getting all these shut-off notices, and they say, oh, by the way, we're getting ready to put you out because the mortgage hasn't been paid. Your husband hasn't paid this in years or whatever. So we need to understand what's going on. Don't put all your faith in these person. It's like, oh, well, they took care of everything. Come to find out they ain't did nothing. And you're going to get ready to lose your house and everything else. Pay attention to the signs. When your body is telling you something is wrong, you pay attention, you listen, you watch. Okay?
Of course, absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. You should always pay attention. And the best is to always talk open about the things, to openly talk about the things, not with judgment to the other person, not with judgment to your partner or something else, but with openness and asking and what's going on, and never stop asking. So please do it together and don't leave someone alone with the finances. So it's my opinion. I always was. My goal was always to be the in action, being action. I don't want to react. I want to act by myself. I want to live like how I want to like living. And so the best is to be in the acting position than a reacting position. And that
And the
comes with
same
taking control.
Same thing for men, okay? The woman might be in control of the finances. You better ask what's going on, because that money is part of yours. Say, for example, you decide that you need to know what the divorce laws is in your state up front, not just for your own edification, because then you might find out, oh, well, if you do this, then you're not entitled to that. You need to know all the laws and regulations to protect yourself. If you don't, then you might end up high and dry. Period. It's a lot of people out there running scams. You know what I'm saying? It's so you got to protect yourself at all costs. Okay.
Yes, of course. Or if you don't know all the laws, then please look out for help, because there are people out there who know the laws and who will help you. So you don't need to know everything, because it's really difficult to know everything and every law. But it's important to have a solid basis and a solid knowledge to know about finances and to know what's going on. And if you have a certain problem, then please look out for help. I think there are enough people out there who are willing to help you, them who are trained
Yes,
for that.
because Yes, because if somebody can't answer a simple question about that, then that raises a red flag, and I would be getting out of that relationship. If I can't answer you a question about finances without you going off, baby, please, okay, that's not the relationship you want to be in.
Yes. Yes. So I think relationship always needs trust, a lot of trust. So you need to put in trust first, because without trust, it's not working. But you should also learn more about and open. For me, I can't say it enough, because it's really talking openly about all the things that's going on and not being shy to talk about. And when I say talking, I don't mind discussing or things like this. I really want to say to sit down in a quiet moment, not in the emotional moment when you get angry or like this, but afterwards. Sit down and then talk about without judgment. Talk what's happening. So I talked about my family, and we realized I have three brothers and sisters, and we as sisters, siblings, realized that um, my parents had financial problems and that they had some things, and they couldn't solve their problems and on their own, but we couldn't give them money to solve the problem. So we decided, as 4 children, we decided to sit down with our parents to talk with them. And it wasn't easy, of course, and it wasn't easy for nobody, but for all of us. But we said, okay, it's not about judgment. We don't want to judge my father or not my mother. It's not about discussing why it happened and all the things, because you can't change the past. But what we could do was okay, what's the situation? What are the next steps? What can we do to help you? How can we help you? What can we take over to help you? Not in the money, in the in the monetary part, but with so I called some lenders and called them for giving us another rate to pay. So things we can all do, and for new contracts and things my father and my parents were overwhelmed. But that's the most important. Everyone can make failures and can fail. And the most important is to not judge them and why they failed and what happened, and not trying to change the past, but learning from that failure, sit down and then look and what's the problem? How can we solve? What are the next steps? I think to focus always on a solution is better than complaining and blaming and crying and judging. It will never help and it won't say solve the problem. So look out for solutions, sit down, talk quietly, look what you can do. And that's the best for me, that what I experienced. And it's the best to really live together, also financially, and care about finances together and help others if they need.
I'm glad you mentioned that because looking back at my dad and my stepmom, we put her in in-home hospice, okay? Because she had pancreatic cancer. It was just better to let her die at home rather than in a hospital. So once she died, then my father died within 6 months after she passed away. They was together over 40, close to 50 years to be with the devil of all things. But anyway, what I wanted to say is that as our parents and as we get older, we need to put safeguards in place because I had to work. Okay. My father expected me to come home and cook a home cooked meal for him. Okay. That my mother cooked all day. I don't have that time. I had a job. Okay. I brought him some Kentucky Fried Chicken and he got upset. He's like, I don't want this. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you then because that's all you're going to get. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is people took advantage of my father when I was gone, okay? The day I don't know what happened, I got a call from somebody said your father's dead. Okay. I'm like, okay, I went over there. He had a gun. Okay. Somebody took the gun. They took his wallet. It was no money in it. Okay. People have been taking advantage of him all that time. So what I'm saying is the older we get, the more susceptible we come to getting scammed by even our own family. Okay. It was a family member that had the key to the house. Okay. It's the people that's closest to you is the ones that you got to watch. Okay. They the ones who rip you off first. And then the other people come like, damn, ain't nothing left because your family done took everything. Okay. I didn't even get nothing. By the time I got there, uh, the whatever you call it, the coroner had already gone. Okay. So okay. They couldn't whatever they couldn't get while he was alive, they took him when he was dead. So that just goes to show you that you can't trust nobody, not even your own family. So you got to put these safeguards in place. I would tell people, plan your own funeral, okay? However you want it, because I know somebody. They said they wanted to be buried. Okay. The daughter, she decided to cremate her mother and took the proceeds and put it in her pocket. You can't trust nobody. So put your own safeguards in place. You can't trust nobody. Okay. And that's including how you want to be buried, whether you want to be cremated or whatever. Because like people from my family, I talked to my daughter about it. She don't want to talk about death. You don't have to talk about it because it's going to happen. It's inevitable. So we might as well talk about it while I have my faculties where I can tell you where the insurance policy is, where this is and that is. She don't want to know. Okay, so how the hell she going to know when I'm dead? Because she's not computer literate. Okay, so I don't know. She'll figure it out. So what I think I need to do is put all this estate planning in place myself. Okay. You tell a person to do something and they look at you like you're crazy. Okay. You will have to put these things in place for yourself. Okay. Because I might not even be here. Okay. To bury you, I paid your insurance policy. So if you die, I can at least bury you. Hopefully, it's enough to bury you. If not, I'll just cremate you. Okay? It is what it is, you know? So we need to think about all these things as well. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, of course, we should never leave our financial responsibility to other people. So, for I have to take care for my own finances. I have to take care for everything I do. So, uh, I can't rely on other people just that they take care for me. So it's not possible. So I always have to take care for my own finances and everything around for myself, or at least for my family, so my husband and me. So we are doing the things together. So of course, it's our priority or responsibility.
That's good because even I'm not Catholic, but I think they like give you your last rites if you're getting ready to die or whatever, and then you have to decide all of these things. But they want to know in advance. So if you incapacitated, what you decide to do, and then sometimes it's like the family will say, "Well, how long do they have?" Because as long as those machines is ticking, the tax register is also going up. Okay. So when do you decide, okay, we're going to pull the plug. Okay. Because it's nothing left here. Or are we going to keep the person on life support? And these are things that we need to take in consideration while we are in good health, not let somebody else to decide, okay, for you. That's
Yes, of
my,
course.
that's my
And
thought.
it takes,
Okay.
and it takes talking up front also, talking to your children and talking about all these things. And I think I can't tell it often again, because talking is everything, and we should talk more and we should listen more. So please talk to each other. Please listen to each other. Listen, talking without judgment, blaming, complaining, everything. Listen quietly and then answer and then talk. And I think that's the most important, and do it always and upfront, because after you can't do it. So it's the best to not to have no problems, but to have less problems. So it's talking. So then you can clean all the misunderstandings, because often we have thoughts about things people could do, could think, and so many chatter in our head, but we don't talk to the people actually. We just think what they could tell, and then we think we don't talk to them, but you don't know. Hey, you don't know until you ask the person in real. So please talk about the things. And yes, of course, even if you don't like the answer, but that's life. Hey, that's life. And if you don't like the answer and the other side is honest to you, so that's the best. So if they answer honestly, please accept it. Accept it. That's their thought. That's your thought. It's not about you. It's just listening and talking to each other.
I couldn't agree more, but I would prefer to have it on paper because I'm telling you, people
Yeah, of course.
change when you're going
Yeah, for
through,
some things,
you
it's
know.
should have on paper, of course. Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Important things that should be on paper. That's not. I don't want to separate us. No, that's extra. That's another point. But of course, I think a lot of things we can also. I think especially in the finances, sometimes maybe your husband spent some money you didn't like. But if you don't talk about these things openly, so then you get anger and thoughts inside your head. They are useless because you don't know what your husband has done. So please talk to him without judgment. That's just a simple example. Of course, other things should be on paper. That's more important. Yes.
Because if you don't, you see this resentment is building up, building up, building up, building up. And that's why eventually you explode and say, what are you doing with the money? Okay. Period. What are you doing? I see you over here. So what are you doing? So yeah, speak on it when you first realize it may be a problem, but don't assume, but investigate. Okay, do your own investigation and see, because sometimes people will lie to you because they don't want to tell you the truth. Okay, maybe they being extorted. Okay, maybe they a blackmail, whatever. So you need to find out what's going on and protect yourself and save yourself before it's too late. Okay, and that's where we at. You can love a person to death, but then you find out that was your downfall, and then trying to take you out. Okay, and then person start asking you about your insurance policy. Oh, why you need to know about my insurance policy? Okay. Okay. So don't set yourself up. Don't let yourself be set up for the okey doke. Okay. So we need to be paying attention to the signs. Okay. So one of the things with the finances is the scarcity thing, because my father, like I said, money and power and control. You can see the same thing in politics. The person with the money has the control. They are not going to let go of the control. They got the money. Okay, so money talk, bullshit walk. Okay, and but don't forget the story about David and Goliath. Okay, because they can outsmart themselves, and we can definitely win. Okay, so never count us out. Never. Okay,
Of course.
because exactly. So the socioeconomic roots and the scarcity impact on finances. You want to talk about that?
Yes, that's something that works with our, so we how we are socialized with money also. So of course we have some behavior of money we were socialized with. So how our parents talked about money, how they spend money, how they handle their money, how they manage their money. Not only our parents, grandparents, family, and also our friends and people we meet throughout our whole life. So this all becomes impact to our financial behavior. And but it, but what I like to say is that this is something that is not in our DNA. So everything we do with money is not in our DNA. It doesn't mean you are born with a special finance gene or like this. No, you can learn everything and you can rechange and you can change your story with money. You can change your behavior with money. You can change all your habits with money. But all starts with your with your mind and the first steps that you say, yes, I take responsibility for my finances and I do something. I learn something and I take care for my money. So it all starts with this initial first step that you're aware that money is something you can take care for. It's the same as you brush your teeth, the same you can take care for your finances. It's not something separate of your life because your whole life uh, has an impact on your financial life. So how you eat, how you trade, everything you do in your life is always something to do with money. So that's why it's important to care about your money and to take it in your life as something very normal. So and you can learn to change your behavior with money, your money management. I think it's everything you can learn. It's nothing in your DNA. Even even if your parents have been uh, uh, bankrupt or something like this, if they have money or had a lot of debt or like this, that's your parents' story, but not yours. So you can change it.
I love that. I love that. Okay. We need to understand that we are not our parents. Okay. We are a better version. Okay. They did the best that they could at that time for what they knew. Okay. So we give them the credits that they're due. So
Yes, of course,
talk to
not
us.
about helping them. No, 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 no. But I can't. If I say I'm not good with money because my parents haven't been good, then I give the power to my parents. Then I give.
Right.
But if I say, okay, I at the moment I'm not good with money, but I can learn to be good with money. Then I'm taking the power back and I get in control of myself. And that's the best, I think. If I always blame my parents, then I will never get the power. Then I give them to them and I can't do anything. So, but if I say, yes, I'm not good, but I can learn it, then I get my power back and can take the next step to learn more and to become better financially.
I love that. Yes, absolutely. Now tell us about the sacred alignment uh with the spirit meeting strategy, financial strategy here. Talk to me
With the
about
what?
that. How we can use how the spirit helps us to become financially whole, solvent. How can we utilize the spirit for that?
Spirituality. I think there's a different definition for everyone what they mean with spirituality. But I think the best is that if you take spirituality as your personal mind, as your soul, then I think if you really start living the life you want and you decide how you want to live, what your values are, what your priorities are, what your goals are, then you can also start taking over financial control. And then you know what you will do financially to live this type of life. So for me, for instance, I like traveling, so I know what I need to do to have the money for traveling, and I don't need other things, but I need this thing. So it's easy. So if you want to have a family, if you want to build a house, then you know exactly what you will do. If this is the life you really want, and not just a dream of another, it should be your really. If it's your life, if it's your priority, your value, please do it and start living the life you want, and then your finances will align with this. Because if you always live contraire, if you don't live the life you want, so always your finances will go contraire to the life you want. So you spend more, you you don't do the things you actually want to do.
So you do the things that fill you up, and the other things that don't, you just leave them over there, knowing that they're not going to contribute to your overall goal.
Of course, it's my life. So why should I do things so if I don't like shopping. So why should I go shopping and shop clothes I don't want or need and can't put in my small bag when I want to travel? So why should I do this? No, what I like is when we travel and my husband is taking a lot of pictures, and after some trip, or we sit, have breakfast together, and then we have our iPad, and there's the slideshow running with the photographs. And then we look, oh, hey, do you remember when you did this? Do you remember when we did this? And all the experience come again and again. That's something nobody can't take you. So they can steal all my clothes, they can steal my money, but they can't steal my experience, all that's my head. So they can't take it.
I love that. I truly love that. Now, some of the principles of spiritual wealth would be like purpose before profit. Okay,
Of course,
stewardship over
we need
ownership.
money. Okay. So I don't, we all need money to live. So it's not about that we don't need money, but we needed money and we all want to earn money. And that's wonderful. And we can earn the money. But also we should be intentional in what want to spend it. So if you like to spend the money for clothes, please do it. Please do it. No judgment here. You don't need to live like me, but do it because you want it, not when you feel good and not to feel good. You understand the difference? I spend money because I feel good, not to feel good. So I don't use money as a replacement for becoming happy. So
It doesn't work. I can
I
tell
feel
you that
good and love
because
spending money. And that's a difference, maybe. That's spirituality you can use.
you are right. Because I had a shopping addiction. Okay, flat out. So once I buy it, then the high was over. You know what I'm saying? Then keep searching. It's like a drug, any addiction. You keep searching for the next high, you know, and it's like a bottomless
That's
pit.
the next step.
And
Of course, it can happen.
gambling
Yes,
and everything else. Yeah,
but
we have.
if you learn how to feel happy, become happy, and or to feel good. I don't like happy because we are not happy all the time. So
No,
that's a lie. We can't be happy all the time. So that's
no.
not the goal. But if you learn to feel your feelings, even the bad ones, then you learn to listen to your body, and then you feel what's the thought, what was the trigger for my bad feeling, what's happened, and then you see, oh, okay, nothing happened, I'm not going to die, so everything is fine, I just feel bad, it's okay, I can feel bad. And then you don't need shopping or any other addiction, eating or something like this.
Yeah, because like I said, instant gratification. So what I say to myself is, this too shall pass. Okay. And so whatever that desire is, whether it was to go and spend some money on a Grubhub or buy something from Amazon, I said, no, I don't need it. And then I'm better off because that money is sitting in my pocket. Okay. Versus somewhere else. And I'm going to have problems figuring out, you know, how I'm going to pay these other bills since I'm waiting for my pension. Okay. So I'm like, okay, be smart. Okay. This too shall pass. Whatever it is I was going through at that moment. And it does. Okay. We just have to tell ourselves these things.
Yeah,
Right.
of course. I always tell my community, it's not about not spending money. So please don't get me wrong. You should spend money. We should spend money. We are allowed to spend money and we need to spend money. It's totally okay. But for me, spending is something I don't do to feel good. So I always do it when I'm in good mood and I know I can do this. I have the money for I spend it. Okay, why not? The money is there for spending. So I worked for it so I can spend it on the things I love. So please spend your money, but not to feel good. Better you feel good and then you say, yes, I want this because it gives me value. I love this. I want to have this. That's okay. This for me, this is the simple change. So
No, that's fine. But I'm saying I don't want to spend money that I don't have. Okay. That's not good.
of
I
course,
prefer.
of
Exactly.
course, not
Okay.
yeah.
Exactly. It's
You
always
always
better to pay
only spend the
cash.
money you have. Yes, absolutely. So
It's
never
better
spend the
to
money
pay
you
cash.
don't have. Yes.
Exactly. D- I would prefer not to just cut up the credit card. Okay. Now I'm not gonna cut it up. I'm just not gonna use it. Okay. Pay cash versus credit. Okay. Because you still every time you still got that interest. This reoccurring interest is adding on to the money you owe. So do yourself a favor. Do something else instead. Okay. If you don't have to have it, if it's not a necessity, this is where I am today. I'm learning. Okay, if it's not necessary, I'm not going to buy it. Period. I don't care how much
That's
I
all
want it.
people.
A kid, I can want some ice cream or whatever. I don't have to have it. Okay, we need to understand the difference between a necessity and a want. Sometimes it's better just say, okay, I'll get it some other time.
But if
That's
you have
just
the
where I'm
budget,
from.
but I also want to mention, but if you have the budget and if you have planned
Yeah.
your budget and you have the budget and you leave a category for you for spending for once, so please do it. So if you have the money, please do it. Because if you don't allow yourself to spend money, then you, of course, feel more in the urgency to wanting to spend money. It's like making a diet. If you say you are not allowed to eat chocolate, then you always want chocolate. Of course, it's the same.
Of
If you're not
course.
allowed to spend money, you want to spend money. But if you give yourself a category that you have the money and then you can spend this money when you want, then you feel less urgency and you will spend less money because you know that you can spend, but you don't do it. That's the difference. It's like
I
living on
agree.
it's like living on an island. And you live on an island and you know you can't go somewhere else. You always want to go somewhere else. But if you know you can go there, even if you don't do it every day, you don't you feel much more relaxed. And I think that's the power of it.
Right, but those that are fortunate enough that can do that is fine. But many of us don't have the funds to be able to do that, and we still buy anyway. So I was just using that as a reference. Okay, if you got it, I agree. Go live life, enjoy it to the fullest. But most of us don't necessarily are not fortunate enough to be in that situation. Okay, so it's we look at it from both sides. Okay. And I'm very thankful for those who can afford such feats. Okay, and it's all good. So so one of the other things is like that we can do instead of spending money, generosity. Okay, as as a leadership practice. Okay, are you frozen? Okay, for us that
I'm
may
not
not be.
sure.
Okay, I just maybe it was me. For those of us don't have the financial means to be able to do that. Okay, there's other ways that we can sacred wealth as far as giving back to the community. Okay, and we can service also through abundance. You know, we all have skills and things that we can give back to other people. We can utilize these things as well. As far as spiritual wealth. Okay, because spiritual wealth is more than money.
Of
Okay,
course.
so right. People need to understand that, because one of the things my father was good at sometimes, he would like give me some money, you know. But you can give me money, but that's not going to take away from the bullshit you put me through and all the crap that I had to take. Okay, money is not going to replace it. And that's why sometimes people are like, oh, I'll just give you some money, you know, because they're feeling guilty. You see, you know, maybe you wasn't there for your kid. Oh, here's this money. That don't replace love.
No, we
Okay,
never
it doesn't.
use money to replace things we don't do. So never for time we don't have or something else. No, money should just be money is just a tool that we created to buy things easier than changing things.
Right, but I'm just using that as an example that people try to say that I'm going to buy your love or something like that. You can't buy
No.
people's love. Period. They either love you or they don't. You know, you can give me a $1 million. I'm still not going to love you. Okay, so it is what it is, and people need to understand that as well. That there's things that are worth more than money, like trust, friendship. You know, the genuine connections that you have. Because when you're on your deathbed, you know, and if you treated people like shit your whole life, you're going to be by yourself, and rightfully so. Okay, so we need to be mindful that there's some things worth more than money. Okay,
Of course,
and
absolutely.
so now with the financial thing you're talking about, the budgeting, so you basically doing an audit of your finances, right?
Yes,
How
of
often do
course.
you recommend? How often do you recommend people do that?
I budget every month, so this means I create a budget at the first of the month, and then I close it at the end of the month, and then I create a new budget, and then then I calculate our net worth, and yes, it's so just a habit I do every month, and yeah, that's it. So it's not much, and yes, I track my spending, so all the expenses I track, but just simple and not in too many categories, just raw categories, but just to have some control. And once a week, I sit down and write them all in, put them all into my budget planner. And yes, that's all. So it's not a lot of work. So it's 10 minutes a day. So half an hour a month. So it's not a lot of work, but you get a control of your money. And often I don't need a budget because yes, I stay within the budget. So it's funny because if you learn more about your numbers and if your spending behavior changes, so you don't need to track it because you get so used to it that you just align with your financial lives and spending. So, but it takes time. So it's not coming in the first 2 months.
You're more able to live a life of abundance, knowing that you have freedom, you have this power. Okay, you
Yeah,
can direct your life in the direction that you want it to go. Okay, you are
absolutely.
are coming from a position of strength versus a position of weakness.
Yes.
Okay,
And so,
and that's
and so
something.
now we have, yeah, nearly the end of the month. So, and today, just in a few minutes, I will have a live call with my community. Oh, and I will talk about I call it money reality check. It's something where I have 4 questions and I answer myself these questions. And I will do it today with my community together. And we were talking about, and not about the numbers, but just more how we felt about the spending, some spendings we did in the months. How did we felt about our financial goals and what's going on? Those are four simple questions, and I do this now every month for my paying community. And today we will do it together. And I think it's a good, um, good exercise to get a different perspective on your spending. It's not just about the numbers, also about, oh, how did I feel about this? How did I feel about this? And was it okay? Was it not okay? Just, just to see that spending is not just about numbers. It's also about how did we like the value? What can I change? And that spending and finances are part of our whole life, and it's just something separated, something abstract on the side. So.
Absolutely. I think this has been very, very informative. I want to see if there's comments or questions. Tiffany said she said she had a boyfriend ask her to move in, but wouldn't discuss finances with her, and said absolutely not. Absolutely, that's a red flag. Period. Okay. And let's see. Andrew said was happy to meet you at the platform. 88 kilometers. Uh, Alex say, I think. Okay. Oh, okay. Thank you. All right. Let's see if anybody has any. Juliana said this is really uh, a a lot of us. Yeah, I know it's me too. And that's why it's so important to talk about these finances as we get older, because we need to protect ourselves. Okay. If I had have known I was going to be retiring this year, I would have made better plans like 5 or 10 years before, okay, to plan for this. But it was unexpected. That's the reason why we need to start looking at these things now. Okay.
And the
While we're in.
earlier, and the earlier you can start. So always they say the best time to start was yesterday, but I say, okay, might be, but now it's the best time. Start when you can and do it now. So that's the best for me. And I'm sorry, I have to leave now because my life coaching in just a minute.
Okay.
No,
Thank you so much.
I didn't plan it when we talked about the planning. So I'm very happy that you invited me to join your live, and I'm so happy to talk to you. And maybe we can do it again if we want to talk about finances. So thank you very much, and thank you to all who have been here.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much, all.
Yeah,
All right.
I will
All right. Bye
leave
bye.
now. Sorry for this.
No problem. Bye bye. Bye.